Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Thomas.
Good afternoon, everybody. And yes, we are going to talk about that Cam Sutton situation because there's a lot of mistalked information out there. Uh, they literally voided the contract on June 1st. That was how we got all that cap room. Because remember, we were hovering around 21, 22 million. Boom. Next thing you know, we had 38 million. Then they adjusted the dead cap once Cam Sutton filed his appeal, but it takes up to a year to get your appeal. This won't even affect the Lions cap room this season because they revoked, they tore up the check the day that arrest warrant was announced on the news. Remember, because they were about to issue the check because it was due that day, they tore it up and submitted the paperwork. They canceled the check. Good afternoon, Smoking Dad. So I remember all of this vividly. And I said, we probably won't hear anything money wise till June 1st. June 1st, it came out that the NFL agreed that it was worthy of voiding the contract. So I don't know if Cam Sutton has a leg to stand on, other than the fact I'm not going to talk crap about him because he was on the roster the day that bonus was due. So he may win that case, but the fact he was suspended for 8 games, he'll only get about 60% of it, maybe 55%. So anywhere from 5.75 to $6 million is what they'll probably get, and it'll come off of next year's cap room, is what I'm getting at. Because civil court is a year backed up. And Spot Track has us sitting at about 36 million over the cap, has it adjusted for the 4.1 dead cap. So that is why I trust over the cap more, because they don't say adjusted and then have it be less down below. It's actually what we're sitting at. And good afternoon there, Matt Henry. I know it's morning where you're at. It's afternoon where I'm at because we're your side of that, to the eastern side, and you're central time. But yeah, I literally paid attention to that very closely throughout the entire process of the Cam Sutton thing because it was very important to me. It's why we were able to cut Marvin Hall at that after that Thanksgiving game debacle versus the Texans after he slapped his girlfriend with no repercussions. Remember, he was only in like the second year of his rookie contract, and there's normally a heftier dead cap hit in the second year of a rookie contract. But it ended up costing us nothing. Now, Trey Flowers, Jamie Collins, and Michael Brockers, all of them cost us a lot in dead cap. That's not a lie. Jelani Tavai even cost us dead cap, I think, or did we let him walk after his fourth year? I can't remember. But he was god awful. I just don't like putting out false information about that stuff. I think everything's gonna affect us next season, not this season, which is another reason to want to roll over a lot of cap room. The more we roll over, the hit it is. The easier it'll be to re-sign core players next year. So let's get into the subject. Are you willing to bet the over or under on the Lions of 10.5 games this season? And for Matt Henry, are you willing to bet the over on 8.5 games right now? Good to see you there, Matt Henry. Glad you switched over. I appreciate it. If you have to put your money on Vegas, which way are you betting, over or under for both teams? Matt Henry for the Bears, over under 8.5. For the Lions, over. I'm betting the over. I already did. Brent said over. I agree. Over on Chicago. And I have their floor at 8 wins because I think they're at least one game better than last year with what's on the roster. And I'm not throwing shade here, Matt Henry. I just know that there's growing pains at the rookie quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be bad or he's going to be great. If he has an average rookie season, it'll take him 2 or 3 games to get his feet under him as an average rookie season. CJ Stroud was the misnomer, being able to come back after one game and look great and only miss 3 games the entire year. Hard to believe he's the only successful Ohio State quarterback, and I actually said it would be him. Are you betting over the 9.5 on the Packers? Are you betting over the 7.5 for the Vikings? If you had to make a bet, a four-way parlay right now, and throw $50 on it, let's say, are you going over on everybody, or is there a team you'll go under on? I think if Fields gets handed this, it's automatically a 9-win season. He won 7 with less on the roster last year, and he was just getting to where he was comfortable in that offense. Under on Minnesota, okay. Over on everybody else? Is that what you're saying, Matt Henry? Under on Minnesota and over on everybody else? 8.5 for Chicago, 9.5 for the Packers, and 10.5 for the Lions. Oh, that 100%. 100%, Brent DeWitt. That defense is legit. It was the only run defense that was better than Lions at the end of the season. I'm not even throwing shade. Defense is legit. And anybody that says it isn't didn't watch football last year. And how big of a change is that? Because prior to Montez Sweat getting there, they weren't stopping the run. Ooh, you're going under on Detroit? I don't see it. We statistically fixed our worst room on the roster just with the NFL caliber we added versus last year. And we got better by subtraction. Jerry Jacobs, Cam Sutton, and Will Harris aren't on the roster. So you got Green Bay winning the division this year, then, Matt, right? You're saying? This is the first time in my lifetime that the Lions have been the odds-on favorite 3 years in a row. Never seen that in my life. Trace, good to see you. I don't know what's going up on Will's podcast, but I have been told I'm not subbed in a message there because it's a under. Well, you know what's funny is PFF disagrees with it. They have us as the 7th best wide receiver room in the league. They have the best room. What's the line for Green Bay? It's 9.5. Bears are 8.5. Minnesota is 7.5. The Lions are 10.5 is the favorite. If I had to do it, I'm going over, under. I just don't see how Chicago doesn't win at least 8 games. Make it 9 and have a chance to be a wild card getting in the back door. I have their window of wins at 8-10. I have the Lions at 11-13. I have Green Bay at 10-12. AR, yeah, I know YouTube has been messing with all the notifications and the crap they do too. I noticed it. No trouble if we lose the Sun guy. We have already proven we can win without him. I know that's what everybody doesn't realize. He missed 2 games last year, and we won those games. We had David Montgomery miss a game, and all of a sudden, that's when Gibbs broke out. You've got us at 13. Yeah, like I said, you two get it together 100%. Uh, for those that have season ticket holders, today's the day you can get your tickets for training camp, and a week from today is when it opens up for us to get them, the general public. Camp starts on the 27th. The silver days are the big season ticket holders only. Detroit does have a dynamite running back situation, and the fact that we're hearing out of OTAs that Vaki is looking better than Craig Reynolds. Think about that when Craig Reynolds was voted for the block of the year last year in Sion Vaki. What time do we need to be online the 16th? I believe it's 9 a.m. So let me look at the calendar. I want to see which day falls on a Monday. So that would be August 5th. Ooh, that's not a date. Let's go to the next one. August 12th. Looks like it'll be Sunday, August 11th. That would be the day I'd want to go. Oh, me too. I want to get at least 4 or 5 tickets because there's family I'd like to invite. August 11th is the day I want to go there, Trace. If that's the day you want to travel down together and everything else. That's a Sunday. Because the 12th is that could work out great. Absolutely. We go down on a Sunday morning, spend the day there, hit lunch, and then head back. Because I'm not going to try to drive out of there right after they get done because that's redonkulous. Good afternoon, Pat. Good to see you, my brother, from another mother. Lions tickets for the general public, if you're not a season ticket holder, start on the 16th, July 9th, today. If you're a season ticket holder, get your tickets for the training camp. Okay, 100%, Trace. That's great. The more the merrier. Heck, the more that goes, the less it costs for parking because we can just everybody instead of one person. I was thinking about bringing my dad. Hmm. Boy, the video quality is bad on YouTube. Wonder if that makes it any better. I keep it running on YouTube because I had yesterday off. I had ass right here at home. It was great. But I go there this afternoon at 2. Right for parking, yes. So the other topic I want to talk about. Are you going to be making any player bets like the one guy did? And it seems weird. The time he made that bet an hour later, which is after the time the stocks close, he made a $10 million bet, and then an hour later, somebody bought the short stock. And if you want to know what short stock is, that's betting on a stock to lose money. An hour after that bet was placed at the Sands Casino, somebody put in a short stock buy for them to lose money after that, and they bought enough shares that it'll be a hefty recovery. So it's like they want Goff to win the MVP at $10 million bet is what they placed. And then an hour later, right after the stock market closes, they bought from the same place where the thing was bet on. They bought short stocks to lose that stock would lose money. And so far they're winning. They've already made a third of their money back in profit because the stock has dropped for the Sands Casino. Is that crazy or what? So if you were going to make a player bet, like Jared Goff is at 2,500 to 1 odds, which is basically 250 to 1. Lots of money, right? That's what I'm getting at. He spent a lot of money, and he's already made some of his bet back. Is he hedging his bet? If that's the same guy, there's no way to know who it was that placed the bet, and there's no way to know who it was that bought the stocks. It's just reported that these things happen in the same day. 42 million difference, what I thought I heard. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. If you win 250, they get their cut out of your winnings. So at 250 to 1 odds at 10 million, that means it'd be another 25 million added to it plus whatever else. So yeah, huge. Another player bet, offensive player of the year for Amon-Ra St. Brown is 1250 to 1. So 125 to 1 odds. A $5 bet will get defensive player of the year is 195. So it's only 19 and a half to 1, but a $5 bet wouldn't make you much, but a $10 bet would win you 195 betting on Hutchinson. For offensive rookie of the year at plus 1750, Terrion Arnold. So that's 175 to 1 odds. So it's $175. Hello, Yoli. Good to see you. How are you? Student-free summer, unless you're teaching summer school, then my condolences to your summer. I think it's weird that I can watch the stuff show up on the screen there after because there's such a delay from doing this live and that. And I'm sorry that the quality looks so bad. My internet says it's connected great. I don't get it. But I'm glad you're doing good. That means you're not teaching kids this summer, which means you actually get a full 8 weeks off, which is great for you. I can't believe how bad the quality is. It's irritating me because on my side it looks great. That was good. Okay. Wow. Wish that would clean up. So, are there any of those prop bets you'd be willing to make on the players? Now you see me bump the computer. I just saw it. Uh, no. And once again, the disclaimer will go out. The views and opinions of Jeremy Ballrick Jr. do not reflect that of Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, nor of myself smoking Jeremy B. But I got my Mountain Dew and I'm happy. Oh. So, what questions do you want to ask today? Are you making any of these player prop bets? The ones I'm interested in, Terrion Arnold for defensive player of the year. I kind of like that. He's currently sitting at fourth for that option. Laiatu Letu, Dallas Turner, and Jared Burse are the top honors. Fifth would be the guy that was drafted after him by the Rams. That would be Braden Fiske. Byron Murphy is up in the top 10. Uh, Quinyon Mitchell is up in the top 10. For some reason, they have Terrion Arnold above Quinyon Mitchell. Just saying. Whew. but it is going to be a hot one today. Not as hot as yesterday. Looks like the rain might come in. Looks like it might go away. Who knows anymore? I wish I could be as the weatherman with my job. Just think if 50% of the tires I sold went flat on people, how long would I be in business? Only bet I made was with my Navy buddy that we would sweep the bears. Free breakfast coming. I love it. Randy Belford. I see you and Coach Dan drinking Mountain Dew. Do you? Yes, I do drink water. I use Mountain Dew in the mornings, and I switch to water in the afternoons, especially if I'm outside doing hard labor. I start my day with an industrial sized Mountain Dew. I wake up about 6 a.m. I start watching, and then I switch to water for the afternoons. And then I have a nightcap of a couple sips of Mountain Dew before I go to bed. Thank you for asking, Randy. But I literally mean it when I say I am a platinum member of the Mountain Dew Club because I've been drinking it since 1978 when it was established as a brand. If I didn't, my kidneys and liver would hate me probably. Quite tasty though. Every time somebody says Mountain Dew, I have to take a drink. A shot. Gotcha. I'm a Marine. That's the man part of the Navy. I love it, Dad. God, I wish I could get Bo Booth and all those guys in here from the Dew Crew because those guys are great. I love it when they get the chat rolling. So what questions do you guys have? What about the roster? About anything upcoming? Um, the Cam Sutton stuff. I think a lot of it is because nobody understands it. The contract was voided on June 1st. There's a civil court case. Dad, would you take a lifetime supply of Mountain Dew or a Super Bowl? Much as I hate to say it, I don't mind paying for Dew. I want the Super Bowl. Give me the Super Bowl. Give me the Super Bowl. 100%. I didn't even have to think about it. I have to keep my caffeine level at a certain spot. Otherwise, uh, caffeine, coffee, and Mountain Dew, they keep stupid people alive. Right. After watching the tape on Becky, I thought RB3 would be one of the better camp battles. I think he has the it factor. He does. Plus, he also has the special teams ability. So, I mean, I understand Craig Reynolds has some special team ability, but It is what it is. So we are officially at 464 now, I believe it is. Gaining subs daily. That's what I love about this. I try not to address a lot of the rumor stuff, but when the rumor came out about Matt Judon, that's the only one I've actually liked that's been written. But there was no trade offer mm, you know, mentioned because it's just that he was on the trading block. So with him being on the trading block, if you could give up Comiskey and a third or a fourth to get Matt Judon, I would take that trade in a heartbeat and run with it. All right, Dad, I get you. I should also say the Navy corpsmen that served with us in Vietnam were also men. Yes. The SEALs are men, 100%. The corpsmen, if you sign the check, sign the blank check for America, you're a man. 100%. There's nobody that can take that away from you, regardless of what they think. Especially if you did it in a time when we were already at war. I commend every one of you who served during wartime, especially those who have been overseas, especially those that have been through what they've been through. There's no sense haggling about it. Those are the real vets. VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. Those guys are as tough as nails, 100%. Remember when we were proud to show pictures of our grandpas, war uniforms, wearing their medals, all that stuff? What's going to happen in 2 generations from now when they have to show the pictures of the grandpas having the doggy face picture filter? No, he's not on the roster. He was let go. Uh, it sucks. I don't know where he's at, JJ Ross. I don't think he makes the roster. I think right now, CJ Moore is going to struggle to get ahead of Brendan Joseph right now because Brendan Joseph, while Kirby Joseph has been recovering, has been taking the number one snaps along with Iffy while Branch has been recovering. But both are due to be back at training camp on time, so I'm not that worried about it like everybody else is. Kirby and Branch are our starters at safety. It's going to come down to whoever wins between Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson to play the one, Terry on Arnold the two. The other one will be the three, battling with Ennis Rakestraw and Mosley, who's supposed to be back by the second week of camp. That's how it breaks down, guys. I don't see Mosley being better than a fourth on this roster. As a matter of fact, I actually see him as the fifth. He's just a rotational guy that'll come in when somebody gets tired. And I think that's to protect him and keep him healthy so he can actually contribute to the roster. And I think that makes a lot more sense than putting him in any of the starting positions, CB1, CB2, nickel, or dime. I know I comment on the Lions Live in the morning with Dan. I like it. He's a good guy. He is a 100% a Lions guy. I'm hoping that my resume gets taken into consideration because I did send it in, guys. Now that Justin Rogers has moved on to another city or whatever he's doing or retiring, whatever he planned on doing. So wish me luck. I think that'll get me into a lot more doors than just that South Florida Tribune and Motor City Tribune headline. Because I do get the pressers from every one of the pressers, but I don't get the quote sheet for 2 days because it comes via email. So first they have to transcribe it all, and then they have to send it out to everybody. So it depends on the pecking order, and with it being a Florida-based Marine Corps Recar are the baddest MFers, bar none. I put all those special forces units, recon, special forces, SEALs, all in the same lump. I wouldn't want to tangle with any of them in a dark alley if they were mad at me. I'll admit it. Good luck. You know football 100. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. So I'm willing to put a $5 to $10 bet on all those player props that I said. Goff for MVP, Amon Ra for Offensive Player of the Year, uh, Aiden Hutchinson Defensive Player of the Year, and Terrion Arnold for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I might even throw another $5 on a long shot on Sam Laporta. I'm going to throw $10 on Jameer Gibbs over 1,200 yards, and that's all-purpose yards, not just rushing. I want to bet I know I can win, which changes that from a plus 250 down to a plus 110. So I'll get 11 times my money. Throw 5 bucks on it, get 55. The over under for JMO is only 500 yards. I'm taking the over. Like I said, 550 is actually what it was. I'm taking the over. Heard he's building quite the rapport, and he should have a good season. Goff, it was over under 4,750 yards, and with this rushing attack we have, and if we hit 2,000 yards rushing again, I don't think he's going to surpass the 4,500 mark. I just have this feeling it's going to be two guys with over 1,000 yards receiving, which is Amon Ra and Laporta, and everybody else is going to be under that. So I don't see over 4,500 yards. So I would bet the under myself. I know some people say 5,035 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Yep, over on both Gibbs and JMO. But I don't see 5,000 yards of receiving talent on the roster, even with Gibbs thrown in the mix. I might see if there's one about JMO rushing. The toughest game on the Lions schedule, there's two, and they're both away games. And it isn't even the Chicago and the San Francisco game. I think it's the Dallas game because you're not just playing their 53-man roster. You're playing those 7 black and white striped guys on the field, too. That's a 60-man roster. And then the other one's going to be the Texans. I just got a feeling that's going to be a tough game. They added Daniil Hunter, who does wreck some things against Detroit. Let's not sugarcoat it. And Will Anderson on the other side. So, I mean, Jonathan Grenard is just a younger version of Daniil Hunter, and he went to Minnesota. I just think those two are our toughest games on the schedule. I think the Bills come into Detroit, we might mollywop them because I don't trust their receiving core. I don't trust their defense anymore. They lost 3/5 of their secondary. Hello, Christina Payne. Haven't seen Will this morning yet. He might not be on break at work or he's still sleeping in because he has to work the afternoon. Don't know which, but it's good to see you. I just love talking football. I mean, Lions football in particular, but football in general. That's why I do my NFL show on Wednesday nights. Um, this week, we are starting NFL trivia. So, on top of whatever news is out for the week, which we all know it's the Kyrie Jackson thing and then the Cam Sutton thing, uh, I don't really want to bring up the Kyrie Jackson thing because it's upsetting. It's disturbing. Michael Marsh, the Bills are going to regress this season. Yeah, the Texans game will be rough, and the Cowgirls refs. So we could lose that one. Those are the two toughest games on the schedule because yeah, and I don't care who you are in the regular season. Dallas Cowboys have an advantage. Every time somebody's starting to beat them, calls go their way. I don't care what team they're playing against. It even happens versus the Eagles. It happens versus Miami. It happens versus the 49ers. But the problem is the 49ers were so good, they were up so far that the refs couldn't even help the Cowboys last year. So I'm going to come up with 2 or 3 questions on top of the 2 news things we cover on Wednesday night, just to keep things flowing through the off season because I think it's a good idea. And then once it gets going, my Monday night show after I do my post game shows during the regular season, we might do a little trivia, Lions trivia. Then I might throw one NFL trivia per week on Wednesday, even before we get into the pick. So that's just something I'm throwing out there, Michael Marsh. I hope you like NFL trivia because I'm not going to give the questions ahead of time because I don't want you guys Googling the results or asking Siri because that's not fair. I'll ask a question and give 15 seconds for someone to reply. If it's a multiple guess, it's 15 seconds per guess on the multiple choices where you like if it's 5 teams type thing. Texans, Cowgirls, and Colts have me a little concerned. I am not concerned about the Colts whatsoever because their defense is not that good. I love Shaq. Crazy Ken's trivia corner, lol. I got an MVP based question I'm going to do. I asked it earlier. Matt Henry may remember the answers. If you do, please don't blurt it out all the way. Count to 15, then put your answers in for each one. But I asked it on Ken and Ken in the morning show earlier because I tune into that because it's NFC North base. And, it's good to know thy enemy. To watch all the content about your team all the time, you don't get a well-rounded where you can actually talk and discuss and be non-homerish about your team. Because if you know what the other teams are talking about with their fans, it makes you a little more well-rounded. And you can actually talk about the teams and not sound like a jerk. That's how I've always done things. That's how I roll. I do watch a Packers podcast or 2 a week. I do watch a Bears one. I do watch a Vikings one. I've been a guest on a Vikings one. I even aired it here when I was a guest on one Saturday. It's just what I do. I I love football. I love talking football. Oops. And of course the Niners being defending NFC champs, but I think we squeak it out in the rematch. I think we annihilate them. Um I just don't think they're as good defensively this year as they were last year. They got rid of their defensive coordinator and they're going through another defensive scheme change. By then it'll be rolling just fine. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams win the division accidentally. Even though they lost a lot on defense, they replaced it right away between free agency and the draft. So I have the Rams a little closer to the Niners this year. The teams that I don't have up there, it's the Seahawks because it's a question. Well-rounded, are you talking about no, I'm talking about mine. I'm happy with my spare tire, sir. God, I love you, Dad. Oh, you know how to take me out of my zone there for a second. The team that you don't know what's going to happen is the Cardinals because we haven't seen them have a complete season yet. We've seen them start out hot and fizzle. We've seen them play a few games. Their backup comes in, wins a couple games. All of a sudden, he turns into the best thing since sliced bread, and then turns into the crumbs from that sliced bread because he falls apart. So you just don't know what to expect with Arizona. I personally don't trust their coach. He said some ludicrous things in his team meetings last year, and it didn't even sound remotely funny like when Dan Campbell had his. People called Dan Campbell crazy because it was funny. This guy was called crazy just because it made no damn sense. I don't know what they're doing with that guy, and I don't know. I just don't know. I think it's weird that two of the leading top 10 rushers last year were in that division. One barely made the playoffs, and the other one didn't even sniff the playoffs, and that was James Conner and Kyrie Williams. And if you think about it, why were they good? Because San Francisco and Seattle struggled against the run last year. Both teams struggled against the run. 60% of their games are in their division. You know what I mean? They play each team twice. I also saw with the new 18 game schedule, they are talking about moving the Pro Bowl to midseason with the bye week before and a bye week after. And basically, no one plays anybody in the AFC from the NFC until the Super Bowl. If that happens, that means you play every opponent outside your division in your conference. Talk about making the scheduling much easier. In other words, preseason and Super Bowl is the only way you see other conference opponents. I, I I think it would make for a better playoff picture. Does anybody disagree with it? They're trying to make it like the Midsummer Classic, the baseball All-Star game, or the NBA All-Star game, or the NHL All-Star game. It's something I've suggested all along. So that means the regular season would be 21 weeks long with 18 games in between. I kind of like it. Okay, I'm not fat, but my belly looks like I'm in my third trimester. I feel you there, Dad. Fought and paid for. It's getting that time of day when we start talking about our sponsors. One of them doesn't even pay me, but God, do we love it. What is it, guys? Put it in the chat. It's FTP. What does that stand for? Fornicate the Packers. I'd say it like Leonard does, but that word isn't allowed on Roku right now. So I don't say it that way. I say it's fornicate the Packers for the pride. Don't forget before you leave to like the show, subscribe, share it. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Smoking Dad comes right in with the FTP. Gotta love it. Then, of course, the other sponsor is where I work, right here in Flint, Michigan. Mike March, I know why you won't say it. 602 West Atherton Road in Flint, Michigan, where the tires are good, but the water's crap. Brandon service at the corner of South Grand Traverse, West Atherton Road. If you need new tires, call that number 810-233-8230. Ask for George, Red, or myself. If you need used tires, come on in. We may have your size. $40 and up, depending on the size, condition of the tire, whatever you need, we try to do it. Tire repairs start at $15. If you need a set of tires, mention this ad. You will get $10 off. And just remember, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. I'm getting all this out early so that we can just have a off the hips topic right off the rip. FTP. Oh God, I love my fans. You guys are great. Uh, I'm looking forward to so many things this season. Um, Another postseason berth, of course. Possibly another division title. Possibly another conference game. Possibly another Super Bowl. It is Super Bowl or bust. Look at the contract. Jared Goff. The average per year said it was going to be astronomical, and it's not. The first 2 years are very economical, making it easy to re-sign your core players. That year 3 cap hit, I think it's going to depend on the performance these 2 seasons back to back by Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions as a team. It's a Super Bowl or bust contract. And the only reason why I say it, there's no way in hell any team's going to pay a quarterback $69.6 million. I don't think that's ever going to happen in any one season in any NFL history. Better than the river water they filled our water tank with and damn. I don't doubt that, Dad. I won't even argue it. But at the same time, if we make it to the promised land in these next 2 years, I expect Goff gets restructured and will be here another 3 to 5 seasons after that. If he doesn't, I expect to give him walking papers. That's just me. I don't think they restructure him. I think they just cut him because it actually saves money in year 3, albeit not much, but it saves money in year 3. And don't forget, his guarantees are also based on snap count, so that guaranteed money goes down too. Food for thought. Just thinking outside the box. I'm not saying that it will be bad. I'm saying it could get bad. We don't know. Because the games are played, every team has a 17-game winnable schedule. Any team can go 0-17, and any team can go 17-0 right now. It's all conjecture. We're all basing it off of what's on paper. But we all know we've had paper lions before. I hope this is not one of those days. I don't think it is. I feel like this is the deepest roster I've ever seen. It isn't very top heavy with talent, and then the talent drops off immediately, which is what we had in the 2014-15 season. I think there's a much better depth of talent on this roster. I think we can withstand a few losses here and there better than anybody thinks, just because the talent on the roster is that deep. I notice all the podcasters are jumping on the Traquan Smith train after I talked about it as soon as we signed him 2 months ago. Does anybody else remember that show? Davey comes in with an FTP. How you doing, Davey? I noticed that I'm gonna follow these. He'll structure for sure. Will cook something up for him. FTP. The Paper Lions were bought team. This one is a built team. There we go. Finally, they started to show up. I was worried that my YouTube stopped putting up the comments again. Yeah, even the Panthers could go 17-0. Bold statement there. Wow. I think the Panthers have 17 losable games on the schedule. That's just me. But I think the Broncos have 17 losable games. I think the Raiders and the Chargers have 17 losable games. I heard somebody hyping them up, but the Chargers, they got younger offensively, but they got older defensively, and I didn't think it was possible. They lost a couple of their journeyman guys that were getting ready to go into the second contract because they couldn't afford to re-sign them, because they got rid of all their offensive talent and had to retool it. So the Chargers bringing in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to together combined, will they play as many games as Austin Eckler in one season combined? We don't know. We haven't seen it in 3 years. There's a reason why the Ravens moved on. They grabbed Derrick Henry for a reason. Why the hell would they do that? Yeah, they moved on from Eckler but signed J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Yes, and it is that time when I'm about to head out of here. Um, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. The Paper Lions were a bought team. This one is a built team. Absolutely. I understand that. We are built. I would bet the Panthers to have the number 1 pick next year. I might make that bet. I might put $10 on it. But I bet you it's one of those ones where I lose money and end up only getting 17.50 back or something like that. The other team that I wouldn't be surprised if they take last place in the NFL is the Titans. I don't think they got better. I think they got worse. They lost their D-line coach. Yes, Trace, everybody here, have a great afternoon. And just remember, any day you wake up, you're blessed. It's always better to feel it than to not. Thank you for watching. Tune in tomorrow at noon where we do all the same stuff over again. I'll try to come up with some more interesting subjects for us. And then tune in at 9 p.m. for the NFL Roundtable Talks on Wednesday night, where I'll have Mike Marsh and quite a few others on hand to talk some football and do some trivia. Agreed, Trace. We're built for the long haul. Oh, Orlando Escobar, I hate being MIA. Crazy busy week. Sorry, fellas. Hey, I understand. If you're a business person and you got to be busy, you're busy. It is what it is. But have a blessed day. I always say it, and I'm going to say it one more time before I put up that outro. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. There. That's as close as you get because he's not here right now. Have a good one, Orlando.
Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.